Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. I am actually on the road for business and I'm doing this handheld, so I apologize ahead of time for any shaky camera issues, but I'm going to do my best. And so I did find here, I'm in Oklahoma, and I went to Oklahoma City, and I'll have to give a shout out to a store called Game Headquarters, or Game HQ as it shows on the sign outside. I actually had a pretty good assortment of war games, including some older ones that are, out of print, like the one we're looking at right here. So this is La Bataille de France, and I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry, I don't really do French very well. And this was, I believe, the second game in the War Storm series, and it was published, as you can see, by Compass Games. And I believe it's been out of print for a while, and I'm almost certain that there are no plans, at least on the Compass side, to do a reprint. So I picked this up. It was not that expensive, so that was good. I think it was $59. I looked at it on Noble Night when I got back, and it was $120, I believe, for one that was not even still in shrink. So yes, this one is still in shrink, and yes, I am going to open it up and look inside. So let's do that right now. So before we look inside, I wanted to take a look at the back of the box. So as you can see, this is designed by Juan Cebrian and Nicolas Eskubi. And again, I probably screwed up their names, so I apologize again. But they are the men behind the Warstorm series. And with this game, I now have all of the Compass game offerings in the series. Alas Barracadas, this one, and Paths to Hell. And I do not yet have the games that came after that. The Normandy game, Alone in the Storm, and Help Arrives. Those are published by Draco Ideas. And I'm actually looking forward to the next game in the series too, which is going to cover the war in the desert in North Africa. So as you might guess here, you can see that this is a game about the invasion of France in 1940. And it is a Warstorm series game, and it is the second game, I believe. It does say based on the system originally used in Alas Barracadas. LBF-40 incorporates new and adapted rules for the World War II era. WSS promises many hours of fierce fighting between the infantry, tanks, artillery, and aircraft belonging to the armies enveloped in this conflict. So you get a look here at the game components. We've got 4 maps, 4 sheets of counters, 1 rulebook, 6 scenario cards that feature 12 scenarios, 2 charts and table cards rather, and 2 6-sided dice. Our complexity, as you can see, is kind of mid-range, and our solitaire rating is also kind of mid-range. And a look at the counters, which have a familiar look. If you've watched any of my other videos on this series or have played any of these games. So now I will flip this over and we'll take a look inside the box. Okay, so here is our rule book. So we'll take that out. And we'll slide that over and we'll take a look at the rules here. So, whoops, not the first page. Okay, so this is kind of a standard look for this series, at least the ones I've seen and played. Same look and feel, and it uses, we've got our table of contents here. It goes through everything. Now, I will probably play this using the most current rules that I have. You can download them, I believe, from the Draco Ideas website, because they are backwards compatible, I believe, mostly backwards compatible. So I will use those as best I can. But the rule book here runs us 23 pages, and you can see here that you have your command phase talking about being out of command and within being under command. So, as I said, if you've watched my previous videos on this series, you will be familiar with that particular concept. And we have line of sight described over here. You have your spotting, your movement, terrain chart. Then the effect of officers. Officers are very important in this series. And you have some play examples here. And then we have attack rules as well. And let's see. aerial attacks, of course, close assault and hand-to-hand combat with more examples, armor assault, armored support, etc., etc. Then morale. Morale is important, as it is in all tactical games. Then we have a description of the various types of terrain that we'll see, and rules for things like barbed wire and roadblocks, pontoon bridges, anti-tank ditches, etc., etc. Optional rule for rubble. And then the way you can design a point-based scenario. So you have British formations and point costs, French formations and point costs, and of course German formations and point costs, but also Belgian and Italian, and then rules for off-board artillery, air support, for fortifications, and the flavor rule for French armor, which I would assume, I haven't read it yet, but I would assume this was more about the tactics that the French used with their armor during that period of the war. The cards that come with the game. So there are, looks like there are 4 here, or yeah, these are 2. So they're both identical, I'm sure. So here we have the penetration chart for the French and the Germans, our armored assault charts, combat chart. And again, I will go into this when I do a playthrough of this. I do want to do a playthrough of this. I'm a little behind on my platoon level tactical series, of which this would obviously fit. And then on this side, of course, you have your odds chart, movement chart, off-board artillery spotting, air location, and then penetration charts for the Belgians and the British. Next, we have our scenario cards. So scenario number 1, Guinness is not a beer. And then on the other side, we have scenario number 2, piercing the Aisne front. Again, my French is terrible, so I'm butchering these names, I'm sure. Steel at Thisnay. I don't know. So as you probably have seen, again, if you look at my other videos, they do give you the order of battle. So you have the Germans on that side, and you have the Allies on the other side. The orientation for the maps that we will see in a bit. Scenario length, so you can keep the card out and just use your your turn marker rather, to keep track of the turns. The victory conditions, terrain notes, special rules for the Allies only, and then some special rules. Neither side is the attacker, it says. And then, of course, we have the historical aftermath. It tells you what actually happened in that particular scenario. Scenario number 4 is counterattack at the Meuse. On to Calais is number 5. And number 6, crossing the Meuse. Number 7 is racing to Neufchâteau. 8, Stone, which is a relatively famous one. And actually, when I do my France 40 playthrough, we'll probably see that, I would think. Gembloux. The San Quentin Canal. And then 11 is Breakout at Juneville. So it goes all the way through June here, or into June. And then 12 is Menton. On June 22nd, 1940, the Italian 15th Army began its offensive. So this would be in the south, and as France was basically preparing to surrender, I suppose. And the date, June 22nd, of course, that would be 1 year before the invasion of the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. Here are our counters. So we have British. I actually like the counter art in this series, to be honest. I know some people don't. They think it's too busy. I do like it, though, myself. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And so lots of armor, as you can see, as well as some guns and some machine guns. They are, of course, double-sided. This would be the reduced side. And we have our Germans, as you would expect. Plenty of German units. And then we have some of our officers as well. So the Brits, the French. On this side we have Germans. As well as some Belgians. One more counter sheet. So some more officers up here from France. Some more Germans. Then we have some Italians as well. Some Italian officers and Italian soldiers. And then our markers. Again, this is very similar to the other games, I should say. We have 2 dice, a yellow and a black. 2 6-sided dice. Here's map A. Let's turn it so let's put it this way. Here's map A. You can see it's bowed a little bit. It's a paper map. And it fits with what I've seen in the other games, as I would have expected. They are single-sided, so no double-sided maps here. This I suspect is B, and it is. So we've got a road and some town as well here on map B. Map C. Here is map C. And you can see that has a river and some fields. Finally, map D. Here's map D. And again, it has a road and a couple buildings and some fields. And some elevation. You can clearly see the elevation marks in here and up here, over here as well. So that is going to do it for this look at La Bataille de France 1940 from Compass Games, designed by Juan Cebrian and Nicolas Eskubi. And that's going to do it for this video, of course. So, as always, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing if you would. Please feel free to add comments. I do enjoy the Warstorm series, so I'm looking forward to playing this, and I feel like I scored a coup by finding it here in Oklahoma. So that's going to do it. Thanks again. I'm Joe. This is the Hexton County channel, and until next time, as always, happy gaming.